So good afternoon. Oh, you can have some more energy in this. Good afternoon. That's nice. Sir. We've got two very important people here with us. I know the amount of pain that I had to go through to make sure that they were able to come here. Not because they didn't want to come here, but because they've always got people dragging them from various places. And time is always a worry. So we've got, I think, about 30 minutes. I'll try and make this shorter if need be, because we don't want to take your time away from what's needed next. However, my belief is that even if it's 20-25 minutes, we are going to get so much of input into our businesses that we can go back learning a few new tricks. That's my promise to you. So how many of you promise to kind of put your mind and soul and brain here? Raise your hands. Okay, that's the only thing that we ask for, because my belief is that between Mr. T Koshy and Mr. Lele, I think we're going to get so much of information that will really help us to think forward with a slightly more enlightened brain. So without much ado, Thambi, thank you for coming in. Koshy and I have known each other for quite some time now, and I think every time I see him with this energy, this ball of energy that steps up. So it's now how long since ONDC started? Since how long have you been associated now?
ONDC as a company was registered on 2021 December 31st. So it's about 1 year plus.
Yeah, and you were there slightly before that also.
Yep.
So Mr. Koshy, I think in this 1.5 years, okay, I think there's hardly anybody in the room who would not have heard of ONDC. Anybody in this room who's not heard of ONDC? Raise your hand and get out. Okay, there is nobody. The point is, it's not easy to try and come out with a new concept and make it an item that everybody can know, at least top of the mind. Okay? There is one more question that goes with it, but I promise to ask you halfway through the session, not immediately. Okay? So now I take it for granted that everybody knows there is something called ONDC. How many of you can raise your hand and say, what does ONDC stand for in terms of a full form? Open network. Okay. So that's also, maybe if only 2 or 3 hands were there, I'd have given a gift, but there were many hands. So Mr. Koshy, the point that we'd like to hear from you is why ONDC? Why does India need ONDC? And what is so unique about it?
ONDC is an idea that is first time in the world. And what we are trying to do is to completely transform the way e-commerce is done today. Because e-commerce, while all of us are very active users of e-commerce, but the penetration of that, you heard somebody commenting earlier, in the buying side is about less than 10%, selling side even less than 5%. It means that it is still a phenomena that is limited to people like you and I, the privileged section of the society. But the way the whole country is moving digital, with 800 million mobile phones, smartphones, and every youngster only accessing the world through the digital world. So the enterprises, the business has to move into that way. But the current platform-centric model limits that opportunity. And ONDC is an idea which empower every small, medium and large enterprises, as much as the big enterprises, to be there in the digital arena with equal footing, succeeding based on what they offer and not anything else.
So the thought is to definitely revolutionize the entire thought process around, or the act around e-commerce. The question that comes up therefore is, who is it going to benefit? Who will ONDC benefit?
See, as I said, ONDC is going to benefit the whole industry. Let's take the difference. I mean, buyers like us, we have now an opportunity to go to one comfortable platform that we are using, and any of the buying platform, to buy any product. You don't have to go one for consumer product, one for food, one for ride hailing. Probably in a year's time, probably whichever buyer application, you may use Paytm, you may use PhonePe, you may use Ola, you may use any of them. But you will be able to order any product that you want or any service. That's the way it is going to shape. And because you're going to have different kinds of options coming for various segments of the consumers, they will be able to buy what is best for them. So that's great about the buyers. And most importantly for the sellers and the retail industry. Today, if you look at, with more and more buyers going digital, a lot of retailers as well as the consumer, especially small and medium enterprises, really struggling. Because if they want to be in digital, there are only one or two platforms and each of their condition may not be the best for everybody. Some. Whereas now, you register yourself in one platform of your choice, you're visible to the whole 1 billion people in the coming few months' time. And that is going to be a major power coming back to the seller and the brands. Unlike the current model where the power is more on the intermediary.
So therefore, the customers are going to benefit, the sellers are going to benefit. The retail industry obviously is filled up with sellers. What do you see their play in this? Where have they currently been? How are they onboarding? And what do you think is really needed to make the retailers really perform to the potential of ONDC?
You asked the right question beginning. How many people know about ONDC? I mean, at least good thing that a lot of people know. Last year, I remember when I came, last year, it was just 1 year ago for your conference.
Absolutely.
Hardly anybody knew.
Yes.
Because it's an idea that was never there anywhere in the world. Now a lot of people hear about it, but still habits and practices has to change. So the biggest challenge for me is to build that traction. But the good thing is in the last 1 year, we are seeing fantastic traction coming. And big companies like HUL, who is sitting on the left side of mine, as well as startups, small startups or have started coming. Today, actually what we did is, there's no central system in ONDC. So I can succeed only if the partners are there. So I did the most difficult part, your retail group, grocery, food and mobility. We started going out and telling the world that a network exists only in this January, 8-9 months ago. So we are seeing in January, we had 800 merchants and 50 transactions a day. Today we have, between the three of them together, we do something like more than 100,000 transactions a day with about almost 200,000 merchants. But what is really interesting is out of the three which I started with, what really went fastest was mobility because they are all on motors. So we see something like 100,000 transactions happening. Retail is doing about 30 to 40,000 transactions. We also launched electronics, consumer products, B2B, all of them in the last couple of months. We are seeing building up happening, all of them. So the good thing is, a large number, while this is happening, a large number of retailers, B2C brands, big brands, FMCG companies are all under various stages of integration. And I believe that by end of this year, you will see this 100,000 transactions to become 200,000 transactions. And you will see 200,000 merchants, maybe in a year's time, making another zero onto it.
So I'll ask you one more question before I go on to Kedar. Kedar, it's okay. The question is like this, okay? I think for many retailers, when I speak to individual retailers, and some of you can correct me if I'm wrong here, there seems to be a typical chicken and the egg thought process in their brain, okay? So they're saying, if there are guaranteed transactions, I'll go in. Otherwise, I may not want to really spend my time on this, on the one hand. On the other hand, I think there is a possibility that if they are really pushing it to their customers, then the transactions will go. Because unless they have taken this step, and this is something that's been done as a not-for-profit with the backup of the government to try and help sellers to really be able to reach their buyers easily online. If they were already offline, it's one more channel available to them. So what is the position that they should take? Are they supposed to wait for transactions to happen? Pahila hone do, uske baad I'll come in?
It's a chicken egg story, as Kedar just spoke to me out. But the thing is, the people who come in first, they will start reaping the benefit faster. Any new idea, look at in the last 10 years, you would have seen a lot of new ideas shaping up in our country. Like I remember in discussions like this about 6 years ago with people when we were talking about introducing UPI. And they said, what the hell is going to happen? It is of no relevance. And in India, we are doing 250 million transactions a month. In 3 years' time, you will see 600 million, more than twice. What do you want, Mr. Koshy? But today, in 6 years' time, we are doing 9 to 10 billion transactions a month, and we are expecting to become 20 billion the next 1 year. That's a power of the adoption of something like this, which is meaningful to a large cross-section of people, which is being promoted by institutions with an objective to make the whole participation much broader. This is the same idea. Today, ONDC is just like I said, in a big way, we started going out only in 6 months' time. But in about 2 to 3 years' time, you would see every product or service provider will be here on the network. And they are the one who's going to benefit. Today, the buyer penetration is only 10%. It is going to double maybe in soon time. As you all appreciate, the the average, I saw some statistics that people spend about 6 to 7 hours on, something on the social media or other in the digital world. And now we are going to give them fantastic opportunity. And if I just give you some different kind of innovation that is shaping up, you would see, if I use the example of FMCG people, they realize that this is something that will really empower the traditional commerce. You see, probably you would have seen some recently in the newspaper and coming, somebody like Ola, who is a mobility provider. He's now today when, for example, in Bombay, you go to them, you will see that they are making available ONDC food. 60,000 merchants, restaurants are already there. They have to only give a buyer interface. Tomorrow, they will see that I can add more, similar, I'm just giving an example. People like them who has got digital consumers in some field will start saying that, hey, I want to give food, I want to give retail, I want to give fashion, I want to give electronics. It's very simple because all the sellers, like I said, today we have more than 60, 70,000 various sellers coming, which will become another 10 times in the coming year. They will all have their products visible. So the buying applications, their interest will be anybody who's got digital consumer, let me increase the transaction level. So they will go out of the way. So today, if you want to make yourself visible in any existing network, whether it is in food or whether it is anywhere, you have to go and please them. Now it's the other way around. Power is back onto you. They will come to please you. And that's a change, game change that's going to happen.
So obviously there is benefits. Now I did tell you that halfway through I'm going to ask one more question. So the question is, all of you raised your hands when I asked, do you know of ONDC? Now how many of you have actually bought anything on ONDC? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 more than what I thought. I of course, I'm a big sucker for this. So I love it. I think it's the easiest thing to happen. But actually, as consumers, we are missing out if we are not experimenting with it. So before I go on to Kedar, I'd like a little bit of sales from ONDC, right? So, so Mr. Koshy, you will have to give a little bit of sales pitch. Where can they go and buy? I think for most people, what is the worry? One second. What is the worry that you have to go and buy on ONDC? Can anybody tell me? Do you know where to buy from? The link. Okay, so you don't know where to go and buy. Oh, that's what Mr. Koshy also, that's what Mr. Biju also said. Sorry? You don't know where to go and buy. Okay, so you have to answer only this question, huh? Don't give me a comment.
No, I was just referring to your previous question as to why we have not gone on to ONDC, right? So as a merchant, the biggest challenge that I've faced is we did not get a right information or how do we onboard onto the ONDC platform. Okay. The sites that we have approached or the information that is available on the website, we have always, or at least my team has always struggled to get the right information to onboard onto the platform. That's where we have struggled.
Oh, that's wonderful. Which company are you from?
Gravis Group, Baskin Robbins.
Baskin Robbins, fantastic. Okay, so I know who's going to call me now from your company. So we'll solve your problem for sure. You can raise it with RAI also, and we will try and help you. Since the ONDC team is very well networked along with us, we'll try and help you. That's a promise here in this floor. For buying, Mr. Koshy will tell you where to go and buy, and then we'll go on to Kedar.
See, for the past 20 years, we have been trained in super app, platform of platforms. So everybody will say, where is ONDC platform? There is no ONDC platform. Like I said, there are different kind of buying applications who are helping their customers to buy from ONDC network. As of now, about 8-10 of them are live. If I just give you, you're all probably familiar with Paytm. Just go to Paytm, scroll down, you'll say ONDC is a Paytm. Go to PhonePe, they have made a very special application called PIN code. Just download PIN code, then you can use that all this product. You can have food, you can have consumer products. You would, like I said, Ola has just launched food on that. They may be adding more. Then there is something called My Store. Then there's something called Craft Pillow. There's a large number of them. Especially, many more are in the various stages of integration. Probably by next month, you will see another 10 of them coming in. So I use the most popular ones like, download PIN code on use Paytm, you would see that. Similarly, for linking up, we have today, like I said, we have about more than 100,000 taxi drivers already registered. We have more than 70,000 industrial, merchants and etc., including gentleman who's sitting next to me, they're also connected. So if you face any problem, just send a mail to me. I will connect you. Every Tuesday, our team do a session, and after that, an open session. Just send a mail. My mail ID is koshy@ondc.org, and they will connect you to that. And then you will be able to do. Or even we just launched, in fact, I'll give you the number, just launched WhatsApp Sahayak. Just say hi, whichever language that you wanted to tell you to take it forward. And after that, your technical team will be able to integrate. So that's a promise I can make here, and I think we should go into more specific now.
Perfect. So now you know what to buy, where to buy. Where to buy will come up even more loudly as days goes by. Our thought process is that almost every single app that you use on a normal day-to-day basis would like to convert themselves into a buyer app, because if you are using Airtel app, if you are using a bank app, if you are using a Paytm app, if you are using a PhonePe app, you should be able to then also buy your items from there. It makes sense for all of them, and all of them are in some level of pipeline or the other. Kedar, I come to you. You've also tied up with ONDC. You are doing a few things. As HUL, you are doing a few things there. What is it that you're doing, and why is ONDC exciting to the company at all?
Great question. I'll break that into 3 parts for all of you. One is, why is this relevant? Why am I here? Why should HUL be talking about it on behalf of, say, FMCG? And where's this journey going? So first is, I think you would agree if I were to say that India is a country of shopkeepers. If you did not agree with that statement, for 1.4 billion people, we have more than 12 million retailers in this country. And then comes the formal organized chains and e-commerce and so on. So we are a country of shopkeepers, and hence we got to be able to do this really, really well. Second is for HUL or FMCG. I strongly believe that everyone who's alive and kicking needs roti, kapda, makan and FMCG, right? Because from morning to evening, you're consuming our brands and our products, irrespective of the company that you would like. And I also believe that if you're consuming FMCG, you can't ignore HUL, because we have about 38 to 40% market share across 26 odd categories, 50 plus brands. So we are there in your lives. And we do believe that for HUL, what is good for India is good for HUL, because we do well by doing good. And this is one of those initiatives that if we did not adopt ourselves to, or adapt and adopt ourselves to, we'll be left behind. When I started understanding about ONDC, I had similar questions. What's the platform? And I'm a simple guy, so I simplify things for myself. It's not a platform, it's a protocol. If it's a protocol, it's a movement. It's like the ether, it's the internet. It's around here. You feel the absence of it once you start experiencing it. And if it's a movement, it's exactly like UPI, which over a period of time will surround you, and you will start interacting with it in every nook and corner, every option that you have of shopping. All of us as shoppers and consumers are evolving, and we are choosing to buy our products and goods in the manner which is most efficient. And retailers will have to become efficient instead of letting someone else take that away. And we learned that during COVID times. For an organization of our size, you'll be surprised, dominant part of our business, 75% equivalent, still comes from neighborhood retailers. And we do believe that these neighborhood retailers will adapt the power of technology, which they have already done in case of UPI and the QR codes. They will adopt because the neighborhood shoppers require it. We have been celebrating the D2C movement, and home deliveries now with tech. We have been doing home deliveries in Mumbai for 50 years. For 1 rupee anasin to 10 rupee bread even. So we are blessed to have last mile, the cost of last mile, which is much lesser than anywhere in the world. We are blessed to have data cost, which is least as compared to anywhere in the world. We are blessed to have a population which is young. We are blessed to have consumers which are getting into consuming class, which means it is indeed the golden decade of India that's ahead of us. So what are we doing here, and why do we believe it will work? Because as shoppers become more demanding, they just don't want to go to one place and shop for their needs. That's B2C. Similarly, the retailers who have if you unbundle the retailers' operations, there is procurement of products, which is B2B. There is stocking of the inventory, which is complex inventory. An average retailer deals with 2,000 to 5,000 kind of SKUs. Then there is order processing, There's transaction, which is money taken and invoice given or without invoice also. And then the final act of delivery, and then consumer feedback and satisfaction, which is what turns into consumer loyalty. This is how you break it into multiple unbundled pieces. And all of that is now possible on ONDC, and we want to empower a large number of retailers who work with us. So for example, as a company, we go to 2.3 million retailers directly. 1.3 million of them have an app called Shikhar, where they do B2B orders directly with Unilever. And HUL distributors in turn service those orders. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about 13 lakh retailers using their smartphone to order directly with HUL, despite the fact that there's a salesperson coming into that store at least once a week. The salesperson could be going 2, 3, 4 times also in a week, but yet the retailer uses a phone to order with us. Why? Because of complexity of SKUs, because of rotation of those SKUs, and because he wishes to service the demand of the shoppers without failing. So I'm giving you all of these things which a retailer goes through, where ONDC could make it easier for them. And for all of the marketers and brands, this is something which is indispensable. So we got to be onto this bandwagon and got to be using the tech that's available and that's accessible to make it possible for shoppers to evolve on their journey that they are on. That's why we are here.
So Kedar, I think it's exciting because you're saying that thanks to this, the B2B connect is easier. So my guess is that for all the last mile retailers, my nearby Kirana wala, it's very easy for him to now order for whatever it is that he wants refilled or fulfilled in his own store to be able to then take care of the consumers, right? So that's, I think, a very clear intention. I can see that. What else do you think can happen thanks to ONDC? Is there anything else that you believe?
No,
there is one more issue that many retailers do face, and I'd like to ask you that also. My belief is you'll solve this. I'm kind of putting a word in between. For example, product cataloging. So it's a mess for a small retailer. Will this help?
It will. And thanks for asking, Kumar, because GS1, you yourself in Shoppers Stop did the barcoding exercise, and then it took the world. There's been a revolution in terms of data. Why is cataloging a big issue for everyone? Because of the complexity of product pictures, images, nomenclature, pricing, and stock inventory issues that we have had. Now, imagine a Western situation, which is a formalized retailer. You ask for a bottle of shampoo, and it goes through a decision tree to get the shampoo available to you. You call up your neighborhood retailer and say, Jagdish bhaiya, ek shampoo dijiyega, Dove ka. And he'll say, even if he doesn't have the shampoo, he'll say, no problem, sham tak bhej dunga. For Indian retailer, inventory is not a problem. Customer service is the first and the foremost requirement they have. ONDC will allow them to, when you debundle or decouple all of these services, suddenly the ecosystem starts kicking in. And today a retailer who goes online, and we just had a presentation, once you go online and ask for saying, I'm going to sell Dove shampoo 200 ml, that whole product catalog is now available. We have made all of our catalog available on ONDC for any buyer app or any retailer to actually access free of cost. So what they would have needed to spend money on is now available, and it gets updated all the time.
I think that's a very big step, because I do know that as a retailer, we've gone through the ages of asking for the data, what we in those days call it a PIM data, right? The product information management data. And it was always difficult to get that very easily. We went through a process where even GS1 and SA2 and all these guys started telling that I'll do a MDM to try and put the host in. Yes. Master data management with that level of data is really tough when it's across multiple companies. So I think you guys would be able to solve this thanks to ONDC in many ways. So product, done. Ability to work with the retailer to try and make them tell, शाम को दूंगा नहीं, अभी दोपहर में भी दे सकते हो. My guess is he can give it in the afternoon now, the same shampoo. Done. What more can they expect? And either of you can answer. Thanks to ONDC.
Let me just throw some ideas for you. Because what happens, we need to change our mental model. Because we can think only platform. If you think about consumer goods, there are 2 or 3 platforms. If you look at food, there are 2 or 3 platforms. If you look at ride hailing, 2 or 3 platforms, which means that not just India, anywhere in the world, they determine how e-commerce has to be done. When it comes to physical commerce, I'm going to ask him. When it comes to physical commerce, he is the brand manager, he decides. You are a small brand, you decide which shop to build, what advertisement to do, what kind of discount to do, everything is in your hand. What in e-commerce, it's not in your hand because there are only few large intermediaries who has a humongous amount of power. What the network, like he explained, the protocol is making everybody equal opportunity to present themselves. Look at some of the innovations and how the whole e-commerce would undergo a change. I'm just giving 2 examples. Since he's sitting here, I'm just trying to use him as my... Today, if he has, let's say, one of his famous product is Dove, correct? If he has to make in any of the e-commerce platforms visible, he has to have a deal with those platforms. Tomorrow, he may simply, when you have many buying platforms there, I'm just making a theoretical idea, it's not there yet. It will happen soon. Let's say there's a full page advertisement for Dove. And at the bottom there's a QR code, say use any ONDC buyer application and scan. He doesn't even have to talk to any of the buyer applications. And the buyer application, since their primary loyalty is to the buyers and not trying to sell a product, push a product, he will try to make it available. When you scan, like he said, the nearby shopkeeper offer will come here and uska chotu will deliver. Yes. You don't need somebody will have to come from a bike from 20 kilometers away and put additional cost. Because our people know how to handle the nearby fellow. That's one interesting way. Look at, I'm just throwing some ideas for you to just imagine. Similarly, today if you look at a relationship between a retailer and a distributor, one is that of the product, others of the credit. Now that will get unbundled. So a retailer will find he has more distributors to deal with, and a distributor will find there are more retailers to deal with. So I'm just talking with any element of transaction, the opportunity is going to explode. It is going to give humongous ability for innovation and specialization. I know that this time is too little to go in detail, but this is what I want you guys to think.
Koshy, you can put in credit piece as well, the
yes,
financial inclusion.
So we have just announced the specification for credit. That is credit insurance. Think like a small retailer or a small brand owner who is going to make now product visible in the ONDC network. One of his worries is like what happens if some genuine loss happen in distribution. That is where, because everything can get integrated, sachetized insurance will become a part of it. Credit will become another part of it. So you are empowering each of these people in a very, very powerful fashion. And I'm leaving it to you guys to add more.
No, I think the most important part of what you said is that I can buy it from the chotu that I was buying, because my trust is what is making me go to him every time, right? The nearby retailer. And now I can also buy it online. And I'm able to just put it there and then be able to buy it from him as a consumer. And as a retailer, he is able to now be in a position to buy whatever he wants on a B2B connect, thanks to companies like HUL. And there is also now a possibility of what you're saying is that he can also get finance thanks to this. The customer also, I guess, is going to get finance. And the last part you'll have to tell, you've got a little bit of a selling to be done. They've just launched a gift voucher. What's behind that?
It's time to get, like I said, the biggest challenge for me is to get attention from people like you and the people at large. So we just 2 days ago, we launched what we call ONDC gift coupon, available now from Omnicard and S-Bank, and many of the bankers are going to go. So this time, my appeal to you is, when you do your Diwali gifts and your season gift, buy this gift coupon and give it to people, your friends, relatives, employees, etc. And the advantage is, today if you want to buy a gift coupon of a company, you can only buy that company's product. Here now that gift coupon can buy from grocery to food to fashion to anything, because the network has all the products. So any products available in the ONDC network can be bought using this coupon. So that's my appeal to you. Tell your friends and relatives.
So, so I think that's sold. We've got just 1 minute left with Kedar. So Kedar, I'll have to ask you something. There's this whole explosion of digital that's happening all around us. But end of the day, an FMCG product is a product. that customers are going to consume. So how do you see this combination happening for the FMCG industry? I'm not asking you to put the hat of HUL, but how does this work for the FMCG industry? Where do you think things are going thanks to this male mill-up of digital as well as this product innovations that's happening all around?
No, thank you very much. We have 45 seconds, so I'll try and answer. Classically, consumers bought brands when they became aware of it. And they became aware of brands through television or mass media. Brands looked at internet as another mass media with personalization messages being given to consumers. Today, digital is playing the role of end-to-end solution provider, not just for providing communication of your brands to consumers, but also in procurement, also in shipping it out, also in experience of products that they get. So it's a physical product and brand or a service that you get, but internet or digital surrounds itself completely. It's no more a linear decision-making journey that you had. It's multilinear now, or rather multipolar, and that's the adoption that all of us will have to do before consumers do. Because my challenge to everyone has been, each one of you is more advanced digital shopper than you are a digital seller. You're a much more advanced digital shopper and consumer than a seller. And we have to become more advanced digital sellers.
Wow, that's really telling. I think as an industry, we are clapping. As an industry, we also got some things to do here. Because the customers have become more advanced than us. I mean, that's the way life is for all of us. Thank you very much. And I think at some point of time, we can scan as consumers the items and be in a position to tell our message not only to the nearby small dukan, but also to HUL directly. So things should happen in that form. So thank you. It was a fantastic session. Lots of people can hopefully learn and adopt and do new businesses. And that's been the basis for which all of us came together for this fireside chat. Thank you so much.